All right, I'm here with Nick Goody, pitcher for the Texas Rangers, which dude kind of
Former free
former
agent now.
free agent now. We'll come back to Cleveland, man. I want you to come back. I missed you. I really enjoyed when you were with the Indians, and as I stepped into the chaplain role, like really connecting with you. So, dude, and all the weight that I pull in the organization, I'll do what I can to get you back. How's that sound?
Whatever works.
We were just talking about this, but I remember the first time, and this is for people that'll be watching or listening to this in Northeast Ohio. They'll appreciate it. One of the first times that we met was the very first chapel I ever led out at spring training a couple years ago. And somehow we got into a deep spiritual conversation about like burger joints. Because when I'm out in Arizona, I'm eating all the ones that we don't have in Ohio. In and Out, what a burger. It's just like filthy eating all week long. And you were the only one that stood by Swensons, representing Northeast Ohio, representing Swensons,
Oh
and
yeah,
saying, yeah, Swensons is at the top of it, man. So,
Swenson's a bomb, man. I'm telling you,
so
I think I smashed two before. Like I went out and did something, promote something. One of the I can't remember what it was, uh, and they had Swenson's burgers there, and I was just like, wow, wow, wow,
see, that's what I
crushing
need
it,
to, that's what I need to
delicious.
get connected with. Any sort of
Yeah,
Swenson's promotion I'm in for.
I was like, I think they tweeted at me because I was like, this is incredible. Swenson sauce, whatever was on there is like, we don't have it down here, so it's like you know, it's a commodity when you get up there.
Yep.
It's hot commodity.
You get to enjoy it. So, and I just appreciate you. We didn't get a ton of time together, but man, I so appreciated our connection and our conversations, and even to this day as we text back and forth, just what God's doing in your life and in your family. And I want to talk all about that in your playing career as well. But I also want to like ask up front, and I haven't asked in these conversations some other guys this, which I'm kind of regretting. But as you were growing up in the game of baseball, who are some of your baseball heroes that you kind of looked up to, and did you get to actually play against any of those heroes growing up, or when you
I
got to the
grew up.
big leagues, I should say?
I grew up a big Braves fan because I'm live in Orlando, and so they spring training was down here at Cracker Jack. So my mom would take me, and I like the Red Sox too. So I had my National League and American League teams growing up. So Chipper Jones uh, was one of my guys I loved. I liked Rafael Furcal, who was a shortstop for the Braves. Randy Johnson was one of my favorite pitchers, and uh, I didn't like the Yankees, but I always respected them. But I
Just
enjoyed
so
watching
everyone
more.
knows, you did play for the Yankees. Are you allowed to say that
Uh,
though?
yeah, so I'll get to that. I'll get to that.
Okay.
I'll get to
All
that.
right, shoot,
So
just
I
teasing
didn't
it out.
really
Okay.
I didn't really like him growing up, but I did like the way Derek Jeter played, and I like Mariano Rivera. Um, Big Poppy was a guy that I always liked to watch growing up. So was Albert Pujols. I remember getting in high school, I got like an Albert Pujols bat, or my buddy got one, and like a wood bat, and we would you know swing it, thinking we were Pujols. But no, so I say that about New York. And then when they drafted me twice actually. And the second time when I got there, um, when I signed and was in spring training and all that, I got to meet all those guys, and that's when I realized like, you know, everybody has their own teams, but for me, I'm like huge fan of players now, like huge fan of like guys. So like, obviously playing, I'm not like unless I'm affiliated with the team or whatever, I'm not pulling for any other team. I'm pulling for guys, So like, so when I met Derek Jeter, I thought he was the greatest. He was unbelievable,
Yeah.
unbelievable person. Same with Mariano Rivera. Mariano Rivera is one of the best I've ever met. Brian McCann was a Brave, then he was a Yankee, and that guy's top of the line person as well. So I mean, I think once you get into the game, some guys I think still hold on. Huge diehard Cub fans and stuff still hold on to it. But for me, it was more, what guys do things the right way, and then if I could have half the career they have, I'd be I'd be set. So
Heck yeah.
those are a couple of name a few.
I mean, that's pretty cool. So are you, even though you're in the game, was there a little bit of this like fandom that came over you? Like, holy crap, there's Derek Jeter in the clubhouse. Like, does that still happen to you, even though you're a professional baseball player as well?
Uh, not anymore. It didn't
Yeah,
really happen either. Like when I saw Jeter, he was on my team, so like
yeah,
we were equal. I wasn't putting him on a pedestal. We were equal. So like
yeah.
he had a job to do. I have a job to do, and it was just for spring training. I never played in the big leagues with them, um, but but that. And then you asked if I had faced anybody or whatever. I did. I faced uh, Big Poppy a couple times in New York in the Red Sox Yankee series, which was awesome. And I
Unbelievable,
faced
man.
Pujols multiple times, and
Yeah. And
but
and
the first
you
time,
struck both of them out every single time, right?
I don't. I think David Ortiz might be 0 for 2 off me, maybe 0 for 1, probably 0 for 2. And Pujols, I don't know. I don't know what he is. I don't know if he's gotten a hit off me yet either. But I remember the first time when I faced. That's my dog. The first time I faced Albert Pujols in New York, and they announced it like now at the bat, and I was facing center field, just getting the ball back, and they're like Albert Pujols, and I was like, oh, like oh man, this is real. Like, and that was probably the one and only time that that's happened because
Yeah,
I
right.
mean I immediately went back to the batting cages at University High School here in Orlando and was like, I used to stand in the cage and act like I was hitting like him, and now I'm getting ready to pitch against him.
That's
And
incredible, man.
he flew out, and I was like, that was awesome. Like, I don't think anything could have happened that at bat, and I would have been like, that's still one. It was a really cool experience.
And now it's all reversed. Now when you get called into the game, you're coming in a dugout, the batters are like, "Holy crap!
Yeah,
It's
like
it's
who's this
Nick.
guy?
I can't believe it. Nick Goody's. I'm going against
Yeah,
Nick Goody. Oh man."
yeah. Like, who's this guy? Oh,
I love it. I love it, man. So tell me a little bit about your story, like where you grew up in Florida, right? Which is where you're at right now. It
yep,
appears to be just nice and sunny and warm, dude.
yep.
We're in hoodie and jean weather now in
Yeah,
in
ain't
October in
about that.
Cleveland. So like I said, like I told you earlier, I'm about to fly down to Florida for the next few months and just crash with
Well,
you out back there.
plenty of room.
Yeah, so tell me about growing up, and
Um,
where that love for the game came, and even your relationship with Jesus. Like when did that all start?
okay, so born and raised here in Orlando, Florida. Um, Went to high school, University High School, which is right down the road, right next to UCF. We live probably 15 minutes from UCF, probably 20 minutes from our high school. All my family lives like one road away, which is nice. Just take a road, and we have babysitters for days. Um, my wife, Me and my wife went to the same middle school, same high school. Started dating in high school. Uh, she's my high school sweetheart. Um,
And she
I
was the one
started.
always chasing you, right? I'm sure. Yeah, right.
Yeah, yes, she was.
That's how all the love stories work out, man.
Exactly. So I guess I started playing baseball at Union Park Little League when I was 4. Started playing t-ball, um, and then from there, you work your way up. And so it was like t-ball, coach pitch, kid pitch. And at Union Park, they called it minors, which is like a certain age group. Was kid pitch, and then it was majors, which was a certain age group, kid pitch, and then it was juniors and seniors. So it was like all the way up, and pretty much played little league and travel ball until I got to high school. But in little league, my mom coached, and like so, like yeah, not many people had their moms coaching, but I wasn't
That's
like
awesome, though.
she gave me a shot. Like, I'll just say that. So like I went from like playing right field to then I got a little bit better, and she was like, all right, we'll try catching. So I was a catcher. We had really good squads when she was there. Like really good squads. And me and a couple of my best friends that we played when we were younger, I'd always still talk trash about how good we were. He
That's
was on the
awesome,
other
man.
squad, so it was like my mom and her squad versus his dad,
Oh, okay.
and like
So you had the rivalry.
so they yeah, so we were like the kids from the Sandlot, and they were like the other one, the kids in that movie, The Sandlot, who had like the cool jackets that showed up to
Yeah.
the field and everything. Oh, I hope he sees
The
this.
L7 weenies, all that stuff, right? Yeah.
Uh-huh. That they were those guys. Every time I see that movie, that's what I think about.
Oh, that's too
I'm like,
funny,
that's
dude.
my boy Corey. Yeah. Um, so then yeah, I started playing there and uh kind of just I guess got better and started playing AAU and getting more reps and travel ball and all that and got better and then finally got to high school and had to try out for high school, tried out as a shortstop. That was like what I was playing. Um, barely made the team. I was like, all the coaches wanted to cut me except for one of the coach's dad, who was like, I don't know, probably 80 at the time, blind. Like, I don't know what he saw, but that guy saw something. And
Wow.
yeah, I almost got cut. Yeah.
So
And so,
how did you find out? Did they tell you like, hey, we don't want you on the team?
oh yeah, he told
The
me. They
only
were
reason you're
like,
on the team is because of the coach's dad.
yeah, Dallas Beatty. Yeah, I'll never forget. He's like, they're like,
Wow.
yeah, my dad's the only one who wanted to keep you. I was like, okay,
Thanks for the
great.
encouragement, coach. Appreciate that,
Yeah.
man.
And then I ended up, so that was my freshman year. Um, ended up like, we had some like freshman tournament or something, ended up winning this MVP award and was kind of like a big, like, right back at the coach. So, and then from there, I just like started on varsity my sophomore year and beat out one of the seniors and never really pitched. Honestly, I think I threw 7 innings my entire high school career, maybe.
Yeah.
And it was more just like going in and seeing, blowing it out, but it was fun.
But
And
you
so
were you
from
were drafted out of high school, right?
no, drafted at a
No.
Manatee Community College. Yeah,
Gotcha. So community college, then
yeah.
drafted,
So
and
then,
then
so then,
gotcha.
yeah. So the high school team I was on was really good. We had a guy go in the first round. My sophomore year, a bunch of guys go Division 1. A couple guys go Division 2, and then so when my senior year came around, it was like 3 guys on our team. One of them was a pitcher going to Miami, pitcher going to UCF. Corey, the one that we played in Little League, was going to the University of North Florida. Um, my best friend Justin, who's a year younger than me, committed to Virginia, University of Virginia, and then there was me, who was the only one who's going to community college. And I was kind of like, they all rep
What
their
the
stuff
heck?
to
That's like a
school.
powerhouse team, man. That's
Yeah,
unbelievable.
we were good. We had some studs, man. We were good. And then I was the only one I was the only one who went to junior college. Like, and I kind of like, they all wore their stuff to school, Miami gear, UCF
Yeah,
gear, and
right,
I was
right.
like, man, where can I find some Manatee Community College gear? So it was actually, but it was the best decision I made.
Yeah.
The best decision that could have happened for me. But so fast forward, Manatee. I wouldn't. I mean, I always believed in God. I wasn't like. I guess I didn't really have a relationship till I went to Manatee, and so first fall there, I was starting shortstop because they played Manatee. You play a bunch of different community colleges, and you play a bunch of different travel ball teams will come in, like the prospect teams and stuff, and you play them. And I started at short and was a switch hitter um, for the fall. So like I had like most unbelievable fall. Like I made every play, every web gym, every routine play. I think I hit like 400 lefty and maybe like 350, 360 righty. I was leading off, like I was killing it. Um, pitched a little bit, like, because the coach there, Tim Hill Senior, liked me, liked my arm to pitch, and I didn't. I was like, I'm not about that. I like to hit. The Tim Hill Junior liked me as an infielder slash hitter, and so it's weird. I don't know. So ended up pitching, but so that fall before I went home for winter break, I pitched and like hit 90 for the first time, and so I felt like I was like, oh, I'm writing my ticket to the show. 90 was like what 95 is now, or maybe even like 98. 90 was back in 2010. Like everybody throws way harder now, but
90.
so
I mean, in the big leagues, I'm sure you guys could tell the difference. For little old me standing in the box, 90, whether it's 90 or 99, I'm peeing my pants, I think. So it does. It doesn't.
You can't see it. It's so same. Like I'll
Wait,
say,
did you throw the ball? Did you pitch it yet?
Yeah. What's going on here? Went home for winter break. Felt like I was a man. Worked hard here. Like had a good winter break. Winter workout routine and all that. Go back to Manatee opening night, playing Palm Beach Community College. Like it was a decent bus ride from Sarasota, Florida to Palm Beach. Get there. This is when Bryce Harper was in the JUCO circuit this year. This is the year that he got drafted, right? So my first at bat, I get up, crank a homer, like this is okay, round the bases, whatever. So I led the nation in homers for at least an inning. I was over Bryce Harper for at least an inning.
There you go.
Second at bat, I get up, hit a single up the middle lefty. So I have a homer righty, single lefty. I get on first base. I'm taking my gloves off. And Barry Batson, who's like, he married me. He's been super influential in my life. He's at first base. I take my gloves off. I hand it to him. I go, man, if this is what JUCO's like, it's going to be easier than high school. And I hand him my gloves. And pretty much from that point on, I was the worst player in the nation.
Oh, man.
Pretty sure I made
There's
like
a lesson in
errors.
that, right? Shoot.
Yeah, I mean, I want to say I definitely led the nation in errors, which like I don't know what happened. I don't know if I couldn't throw the ball, like I could field it, but like iffy on fielding. I don't know what happened. Like everybody ever asked me, I'm like, man, God was making the ball do all sorts of things on me because it was not. I would get it, and then it would be like. I'd throw it in the stands, or I would go to field it, and it would just eject out of my mitt. And I was just like, I have no idea. Something supernatural was happening. There's the only way I can put it, because to fall off, like I lost anyways. I lost my shot, obviously. They put one practice. They put the plastic dummy out at shortstop. One of our pitchers did. He was like, hey, he can do just as good a job as you.
Oh my gosh.
I learned some humility there.
Oh my gosh.
They gave me a week break, and during that week, Barry had Bible study at his house, and I was like, he's like, yeah, guys come, blah blah blah, and it's open to everybody. Like, we'll cook desserts and all that, and your college. I was like, all right, well, I mean, I believe in God, but free dinner and some cookies, and he's like, guys, bring their bats and their gloves, and I was like. I'm gonna bring my whole bag here. Bless my bag, please. And so I ended up going, and it was probably one of the best decisions I made while I was at SCF. I didn't bring my glove or anything, but I went. A couple guys went, but it was me. I don't remember who else, but me and my roommate for sure went, and we had dinner. He cracked open the Bible and started reading, and I was like, man, you can apply all this to your life. And so I just kept going back, and I was real angry because I had lost my job. They told me I was going to get a week break. 1 week turned into 2 weeks. 2 weeks turned into, hey, let's try pitching now. And so I hated it. I hated pitching. But going to the Bible studies and all that helped me see a bigger picture. I think helped me cope with not getting it done on the field. Plus I have my girlfriend, who's my wife now, but my girlfriend at the time was like, because I was ready to come home and play for the local college here,
Hmm.
and she was like, "You gave him your word, like you're staying out there,
Yeah.
basically." And I was like,
Yeah.
arguing with that. You're right. I did give him my word, so I will stay. And
Isn't it, I've always found it interesting. Like sometimes it takes those moments in our lives where it's like you go from handing the gloves off to this is going to be a piece of cake. I'm the man. To all of a sudden, like, shoot, maybe I'm not as great at whatever it may be as I thought
yeah,
I was.
you got to
And
adapt.
I can't do certain stuff on my own. And that's a lot of times I've found for myself and other people that I've pastored or ministered to over the years that like those are a lot of times the places where God gets our attention. Or I should say,
Hmm.
like he's always getting our attention, but we may be open to him
I was
finally.
open.
Like, yeah,
I
open.
went.
So yeah, that's exactly it, man.
So yeah,
Incredible.
I mean, so yeah, so I mean, like I said, Barry ended up marrying me and her, like 10 years later, down the whatever it was, 6 years later down the road. But like, yeah, I mean, it was set a foundation for my future there, So my foundation for my life was, I mean, my obviously your parents lay it, but I guess spiritually my foundation was set at SCF, and it started building there. And by no means am I
Yeah.
perfect, nor do I, you know, I'm the farthest thing from perfect. But
Oh
uh,
shoot, dude, we were
I,
having this conversation because I thought you were. So that's so disappointing
so
to find out.
yeah, I mean, I
Yeah,
enjoy some bourbon every now and then, a cigar, you
occasional
know.
cigar. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. You got to enjoy life. We're not here to be perfect, so. But no, I think like deep down in my core, I'd like to think that I have the right values in my heart. So that's
Yeah,
what
you do.
I think Barry and Seven was Tim Hill Senior, because they weren't a Christian college, but the three coaches that were there were extra, like men of faith, which I admired and like uh wanted to be like, I guess you could say,
Yeah, yeah,
So
incredible.
so that happened there, uh, and you know, and multiple things have happened throughout the way. If you want me to continue, I can. But
Well, I'm kind of curious. I mean, we could talk about this all day long, I'm sure, but just for time, like, so you end up from there getting picked up by the Yankees, right? Getting drafted.
yeah,
Okay.
so after my so all right, so then after my freshman year, I pitched a little bit. My freshman year had some multiple colleges coming after me.
Yeah.
Took some visits, whatever. Um, Ended up going back to Manatee because I was like, I really did pray on it, and
Yeah.
I was like, give me a sign. I just need something. And I was listening to a Lil Wayne song, and it said, one of the verses like, I put him up in the hills. Well, it couldn't mean anything, but to me, I was like, all right. The coaches there, his last name were Hill, so it was Tim Hill Senior, Tim Hill Junior. And I
Yeah.
was like, all right, well, I'm going back. I'm going back
That
to
speaks through the prophet Lil Wayne, you know.
whatever, it worked. So and
Yeah.
then I was like, I did give them my word for I gave them 2 year commitment. So that's my
Yeah.
dream school was Florida State. And they came onto the scene, like more as like, I think a walk on after my freshman year, I think.
Okay.
And so I was like, went back to SEF, dealt, had way more colleges, like quadruple the amount of colleges, even more than that, on me. Florida State was one. Ended up taking a visit I took a visit to Florida State. Um, Reverse in between my freshman year and my sophomore season, I took that visit before I went back for my sophomore year at SCF. I took a visit to Tulane. Enjoyed that school. It was great. Me and my mom went out there. I knew that LSU had been on me or
Yeah.
talking about me to my coaches for a little bit, but I didn't know. I hadn't talked to any of them. I had nothing, so I didn't even know Barry was the one that was communicating with them. But I I wasn't with Barry because I was at home. It was the off season, I guess. And I was like, so I told my mom, it's an hour drive. I was like, hey, if I never come to Tulane or ever go to LSU, let's at least drive to the campus just to say we went and check it out. Like,
Hmm.
so because they were recruiting me through Barry, I guess. I didn't talk to him, but so we went to LSU, drove into the parking lot. The stadium was open, which is weird. Got out, walked up the stadium. We're standing on the right field line, foul line. And I'm like looking at the stadium. My mom's there, like looking around. She's looking around. I say, hey, this is where I'm going to play college baseball.
Wow. You
This
just
is where
thought
I'm
of
going to
them.
go
Yeah.
next.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm coming here. And she was like, okay.
Wow.
And so that was without even talking to any of the coaches, like anything. We went to the gift shop. I bought a hat, bought some shirts, and I was like,
So you could get some LSU gear, no problem, huh?
no problem. So and then so you put that out there. I put it out there, and it was brought to me, and then I went
Yeah.
back, had a great season pitching. Uh, the Yankees drafted me in the 22nd round, and had kind of it was a win-win for me. I can either continue my career at LSU, get
Yeah.
better at pitching. I really the pitching coach there's I think the best in the nation. So, or start my pro career. Alan Dunn's a pitching coach at LSU. Flew up to where I was playing summer ball in Minnesota. We spoke for about 2 hours in a little tiny business room at a hotel in Duluth, I think. And he went back, and I remember he after the 2 hours he went back to wherever he was staying, and I was like walking back to my room, and I'm like, man, because I was like, I didn't come from a lot of money, so I was getting offered 6 figures to go play, and it wasn't anything crazy. It wouldn't have been a
Yeah.
bonus baby, but 6 figures, 6 figures. Like I was getting offered to go play for the Yankees, 6 figures, or go to LSU and continue my career there. And I remember walking out of that meeting and was like, man, I'm going to LSU.
Yeah.
I definitely am not ready
Incredible.
to go play professional baseball. So I went to LSU. Had a great season, great year. Almost got cut there after my fall as well.
Oh, wow.
Had a terrible fall. I remember the exit meeting, Coach Maneri, I'll never forget it because I was like, he knows how to get the most out of his players. He got the most out of me there. I'll tell you
Yeah.
that. Great coach, but he was like, yeah, you're just not the player we thought you were. And he's like, I can help you try and
Wow.
find a transfer school or whatever. And I was like sitting back in his chair in his office with all these awards he has and pictures of guys and all that. And the College World Series over there. And I looked at him. I shook his hand. I said, I'll see you after winter break. And that was it. And I went home, killed it,
Yeah.
came back, and was on the Golden Spikes Award watch list at the end of the year, which is top college player. Didn't I was didn't win it, obviously. I think Zanino won it that year, Mike Zanino, but he was unbelievable.
You're over it now, though. It's okay. No big deal.
Yeah, I kind of it's hard I was closing, so it was hard for a closer to
Yeah.
win it. I thought I was going to win Stopper of the Year or something, which I probably should have, but somebody else won that one too, which I was a little bitter about. But
You might as
whatever.
well. You're over it. It's okay.
Yeah,
God is good, right?
yeah. So then from there, I got drafted in the 6th round. And then I knew when I got drafted there, I knew that it was my time to go play pro ball
Yeah.
because I was ready. I've done it at the highest collegiate level, and now I'm ready for whatever challenges are gonna be thrown my way in
Yeah.
pro ball. First year, I went from this 2-month season. I went short season, low A, high A, so skipped 3 levels in
Yep.
a short year. Off season happened, went to Instructs. Then I got invited to big league camp, my first spring training, so major league camp. The Friday before the first game, I think the first game was on Monday or Sunday. I don't remember when it was, but I was here. It was the first time I made Kate's my wife, made her birthday in 5 years, 6 years, whatever. And we get in a car accident, tear my ankle up, Like it was like a 4-car crash. Lady hit us all the way through. So and anyways, she ended up making her birthday dinner. I ended up missing it. Our
Oh
spring
my
training was in
gosh.
Tampa.
I never knew that
So
story, Nick. Incredible. Oh
a
my
lot of yeah.
gosh.
So like we were literally like probably 2 minutes away from where we were going to eat dinner. This happens. She gets in. Like she makes sure I'm obviously okay. She gets in because we had family waiting. She gets in her
Yeah.
car, goes to the thing, and I'm sitting there, ankles all jacked up. And I say that because that's when I met Derek Jeter and Mariano Rivera
Gotcha.
was in that spring training, and because he was rehabbing his knee. If you remember, I think it was that he blew his knee out at the warning track, or he was rehabbing something, or maybe he was just there. But so that was kind of a segue into that. And then
Nice.
from there, I mean, I was flying through the Yankee system. From there, I went to I pitched the very last game of spring training against the Orioles, and I knew something was wrong with my elbow.
Yeah.
I could feel like it was tight, something just wasn't right. But I went out there, struck out 2 guys, like did well, and I was like, all right, well, it's not feeling great, but I can perform at this level. I'm pitching against major league guys,
Yeah.
you know, with a hurt elbow, so this is gonna be cake. And that like the whole game, I was in the bathroom, had the water on like super hot. This is in spring training in Bradenton, like put my elbow underneath the hot water. It was, man, it was a mess, but
Oh my
I,
gosh.
I wasn't going to miss the opportunity to pitch, against
Yeah, you
it was
go
my
for
first
it.
spring training. Yeah. And especially because I had pitched with the ankle brace on, like my ankle was still swollen, and went out there, did well, came back, knew something was wrong with my elbow. Break for the season. Opening night, I'm throwing like 87, elbows thrashed. Knew it wasn't good. Came in the next day, I couldn't like straighten my arm. Was like
Oh
this,
my
like
gosh,
couldn't
man.
straighten it. I couldn't straighten it out. Um, I'll get to the point where I'm giving you the story. So I I get MRIs I get MRIs done on it, and and so I went home. Like Tampa to Orlando is about an hour 45. So I just drove home because they're like take a couple days, like you know. So I went home. I'm hanging out here, and uh, they call. They're like, "Hey, your MRI is what they say." I was like, "Was it good or what?" He's like, "Well, it's not good and it's not bad." And I'm like, what? This is how you're supposed to. This is
Elaborate a
my
little more.
yeah. Like, what are you
Yeah.
talking about? Like, I'm like Tim, who's Tim Lentig's, the head one of the head trainers in New York. I'm like Tim, phenomenal guy. Well, what like you immediately get that like pit in your stomach. You're like, oh, and I'm like, what do you mean it's not good and it's not bad? He's like, well, come in and I'll show you. So driving back to Tampa from Florida, I'm in. Well, hold on, get my time here messed up. Anyways, I go in. He shows me what happens or what it is, and it was like I could have pitched with it and been fine. I had 3 different opinions. One of them said get the surgery. The other 2 were like you can pitch the rest of your career and never have to worry about it, or you can get it done, Tommy John surgery now
Yeah.
and not have to worry about it. So that's when I took my couple days, went home, talked with my family, had no idea what I was going to do
Hmm.
because I also had a flexor strain, which that's why I couldn't straighten my arm.
Yeah.
But I had no idea what I was going to do. And on the way driving back to Tampa, I'm like praying in my car. I have this like Mark Pro machine on my arm. I'm like driving. It's thumping in the truck, and I'm like praying to God, like just give me a sign. Like, well, I have no idea what to do. I don't.
Yeah. Wow.
I was at a loss for. I really had no clue because I was like, part of me is saying just pitch with it because I felt like I was this close to being in the big leagues, and part of me was like, well, just get it done so you don't have to worry about it anymore. So like I'm praying in the car, and I like the next car that drives by, and I'm on I-4, which is a major highway. We're all going about 80, The next car that drives by's license plate was like TJ, like 23, whatever, 67, like, and TJ is short for Tommy John.
Tommy
So
John. Yeah.
I was like, so driving on I-4, I was just like, I see that, and this was literally after I was like, just anything, just give me a sign, anything. Car drives by, it says TJ, and I'm like, all right, getting
Wow.
Tommy John,
Oh my gosh.
just like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you ask and it, you receive. Sometimes it's not what you want to hear, but
Right.
it is. I think it was perfect for me, perfect timing,
Yeah.
because helped me. It helped me mature. That going through this showed me how much you and this is like there were success rates through the roof, but still like this 84%. There's
Surgery that could impact, right?
16% that at
Yep.
least back in I think it was 84 whenever I was getting it. Now it's probably like 90 something, but like there's 16% that you might never throw a baseball again. And so
Yep.
I was like, all right, but going through this really like I grew a lot closer to God, and learned to lean on people who were good people like Barry, and
Hmm.
there was a guy in New York named Ron Dock who's phenomenal. Uh, and so yeah, I mean that helped me, and those were some of the signs that I'd gotten when I was earlier in my life. So
Yeah. That's incredible. I mean, I appreciate you sharing that. Well, I never knew the story with the ankle and the car accident. So you had kind of all that going on. And again,
yeah,
like just like we talked about, sometimes those difficult moments in our life where it's like, all right, I can't do this on my own. I can't make this happen. All right, God,
yeah,
where are you? Like, it's amazing when we turn our attention, our focus on him, how much we actually realize he's there and realize
oh
he's
yeah,
speaking to us and there with us. So I love that. And so you go from the Yankees to the Indians, and then this last season was with Texas, and like you said, now in this free agency, like if you don't mind me asking, like, can you talk about maybe some of the difficulty of going between different teams, and what that kind of transition might be like? And even with that, like, how does that impact your relationship with God or community, or what have you seen God do in the middle of all that, or even some of the transition there?
yeah. So I came up with New York, so I have tons of friends over there. Uh, a lot of the guys you see on TV, those are all my boys growing up coming up through the system. So yeah, I mean, so what happened was when they signed Aroldis Chapman, I got designated for assignment. I didn't pitch well there. I always felt like I was walking on eggshells in New York my first year, or I guess 2 years. I only spent 2 years, but like my first year, two seasons up and down, it was just like I lived in Times Square, and like I never could really like settle down. I always felt like I was on alert, and that's draining. And it showed. And when I was pitching, I couldn't drive to the field, which, not that I'm a big fan of driving in the city, but it's a good way for me to decompress. Like on the way home, you can decompress. I did that in Double A and Triple A, and so not like having to ride the subway or taking a taxi or an Uber. Well,
Not the most
I took.
relaxing
No,
time
I was
alone,
always
right?
on alert, especially in the
Yeah.
subway, because you don't know, you know what's, especially at that time at night. And so, um, so anyways, so yeah, I have friends in New York, and so whenever they designated me, we were just getting back, or we were just about to take our honeymoon. I get a call the night before we take off. Hey, Brian Cashman called me. We'd love to have you back. We're gonna designate you. Da da da. I don't think we're gonna get you. Whatever. So it was the first time, and I was like, I remember I went on like probably an hour jog that night right before we left just I had to decompress. I was like, yeah, you feel like, pissed that you're not good enough. So so we ended up taking our honeymoon. Oop, all right, we're good. We ended up taking the honeymoon, and it was during the honeymoon when Cleveland uh, traded for me. So I was like, all right, I'm going to be Cleveland Indian, like super sick. Or they were just in the World Series. The team's really good. Tito's the manager. Heard nothing
Hmm.
but great things. Um, show up first day in Cleveland, and it was like it's like family there. So Tito makes it extremely welcoming to anybody, new guys, everything. So uh, get to get to Cleveland, and the transition there was super easy. Like I had played with Cody
A
Allen
little
in high
different to go
school.
from New York City to Cleveland.
Yeah.
Just the city perspective. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
well, this was in spring training, but all the guys were super friendly, easy to get with. There was no like, you know, well, Lindor and there's superstars there, but the media is not quite as bad. So not bad, but not quite as uh, in your face all the time. So
Aggressive, maybe.
you
Yeah.
could really be yourself. You
Yeah.
could be yourself there,
That's
which
good.
is something that I got to be myself around those guys. And then when we got to Cleveland and ended up pitching well, and Tito put me in situations to succeed, uh, and when I didn't, I could drive back to the house and decompress along the way, which I loved. Like lived out in Crocker Park, which it's
Mm.
about 20-minute drive
Shout
from
out
from
Crocker
the
Park.
yeah from the field, and it so the transition there was easy. Like I enjoyed it. Me and my wife, we loved our time in Cleveland,
Hmm.
and and that's where I spent the bulk of my major league career so far is there. And so
Yeah.
all those
Yeah.
guys are families to talk to them constantly. And like I'm talking to you right now,
Yeah. Love
I
it,
don't think
man.
yeah. So I mean, Cleveland will always be part of our story, and as will New York, and as will Texas. The transition to Texas was well, the designation by Cleveland would kind of caught us off guard. We were coming back from a vacation. We've taken 2 vacations, and I've been designated twice. So we were like, all right, no more vacations. But this year,
We're done. We're done going
yeah.
anywhere. Right.
So, uh, but so uh, the transition from Cleveland to Texas was easy. The, I think once you've been designated once, you're just like, it's like ripping a Band-Aid off. All right, let's roll. They
Yeah.
don't want me, somebody else does. When Cleveland designated me, it was a little tough because I felt like I did well there, and I was, I'm like, kind of caught us off guard. But you got to get over it and move on. So we were excited to go to Texas. Had a really great spring training, the best spring training I've ever had in my entire career there. And then COVID came, and
Welcome to
we went
2020, right?
home.
Oh
Yeah, we
man.
went home, and I was so pumped for like the guys were great, the coaching staff were great, like great guys, and uh, I was like, man, I was striking out everybody, like no, in spring training, the first one, I'm like, this is great, Then COVID happened, we go home, and we don't know if we're gonna play, we're not gonna play, we're not gonna play, all this stuff, and then we ended up playing, and I it was just for me, like this season was just super, like the transition from team to team was easy, but this season was
Mhm.
like I just couldn't. And this is gonna sound like bad. I mean, I did every I did the best I could under the circumstances, but it was just really difficult to play this year for me. And I'm not making excuses. I sucked. Like, but I think this is another
Oh
lesson
man.
in life, and you know I got DFA'd by them, and now that's why I'm a free agent. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it was a wild year. We'll put it at that.
It's a wild year, but even hearing you talk about those transitions, there's just in this conversation here, there's like a hope and there's a joy that you have even in your voice as you talk about that. And I feel like it's in our conversation and stuff in the past, like I feel like that's because of your relationship with Jesus. Like you've seen him at work, you've seen how he's led
Yeah,
you and taken care of you and stuff that, yeah, he's got you for whatever's next for you. I mean,
yeah,
would you say that that's part of it then?
extremely important. Yeah, extreme. Absolutely. The thing is like when they designated me this year, was like, I wasn't like bitter, or I was like, all right, well, I'm not gonna stress about it because whatever's gonna happen, it's gonna happen, and you know, all I can do is prepare for next season, and the rest is in, you know, God's hands, and wherever I end up, that's where I'm meant to be. This was you know, a stepping stone to wherever I'm gonna be, wherever I'm gonna play next, if that's
Yeah.
what he wants me to do, which I hope
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah, right. And I can't wait to see you back in Cleveland 2021. It'll be great. So
I'm always open. I'm open
well,
to that. We loved it.
yeah. Well, Nick, I appreciate you just having this conversation, talking about your story and journey in baseball and how you've seen God at work in the middle of it all. And I gotta tell you, there's two things I think about uh, when I think of you outside of talking about
Swenson.
Swensons is last season there were two times so in Cleveland where the players lot is, there's always those fans by
Yep.
the entrance. They're asking for the autographs and stuff, and I think it's so easy for people just to walk by and ignore them. But I remember one time we kind of arrived on a Sunday morning before the game, before chapel, around the same time. And as we're walking together, you're like, hey, hang on one sec. And you go over to where those fans are and you're signing stuff for them, but not just signing them, like engaging with them and talking with them, like just giving them of your time. And then there was another time before a game after chapel, we were warming up out in the field. And I don't know if this was something that was set up or not, but there was a kid that was there with his dad. And I don't know, like I said, if it was arranged or the kid was just randomly there. But you took time. You have a million things you could probably be doing, getting ready for the game. But you take time to stand there and play catch with this kid, which probably made his entire world getting to be on a field, play catch with a professional baseball player. And I just love that about you. The way that you, I think, again, like you said, not that you're perfect, but the way that you interact. And I've seen you treat people the way I think Jesus would treat them and interact with them. And so I just love that about you, man. Those are two stories that I always think about and always kind of stand out when I think of you. So, yeah, I just appreciate you, man, and can't wait to see what God has for you and your family next, and know that I'll be praying for you in that. So, even though it probably will be Cleveland. So,
that's where I end up. I mean, that I would we would enjoy that very much. So, yeah, hey, the people that work in Cleveland, you and Tito and everybody all the way down are family to me and my wife and our son Braxton and our dog Gus, and that's where we end up. That's where we end up, and we would love it.
Well, I hope so. So, all right, brother. Well, hey, appreciate you, appreciate your family, and thanks for having this conversation, man. It really means a lot.
Absolutely, Mike. Thank you.
All right, take care, brother.
See you, bro.